All right, what's going on, guys? It's Tim and Julian here from Advanced Agent Marketing. We have Dan Trinati on here. He's doing some crazy stuff in the organic space on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook with the IULs and generating, organic appointments, generating leads for free. So we brought him on here to talk about what he's doing with that and how you guys can replicate that within your own business. So, Dan, dude, just kind of give us a background on yourself. How'd you get into the insurance business, and where do you come from?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you guys for having me on here. From New Jersey. I'm actually back at my small family farm up here in Jersey, in Northwest Jersey. So I'm chilling up here for right now. I went to school in the Carolinas, so not actually too far away from you guys. And I did the whole, hey, let's go to a bunch of school, pile on the debt and get a good corporate job. So I did that, and I'm like, shit, this this freaking sucks. Like, no, not that it sucks, but for me and what I wanted to do is just, it wasn't get me to where I wanted to go. So I was just looking for any entry-level sales position where even if I had to take a massive pay cut, like I was cool doing that, so I could at least learn something and like build my. If I'm going to work like a dog, I'm cool, but by God, I'm going to work like a dog for myself.
Right.
And then so I got and found all these insurance things kept popping up, and I found insurance, and for the first years, now I've been in insurance for about 2.5 years, right around 2.5 years, coming up on 3 in January, and it's been fun. For the majority of it, I was running final expense, mortgage protection, all in person, running 30, 40 appointments a week. About a year ago, I started transitioning to more virtual, doing all mortgage protection, final expense over the phone. And then, dude, it's just like, there's a lot of cool shit you can do in insurance. Like a lot of really freaking cool shit, especially for retirement. And I love money. I love business. I always just love learning about different things that people can do with money. And I started looking at like infinite banking, IULs, tax-free retirement. I'm like, shit, this stuff is really cool. People don't know about this enough. I'm like, if I can just market products to people, like what this can do for people, just talk about what cool stuff can do. Well, by God, I'm assuming that would also be actually a pretty cool recruiting strategy, because then I'll be recruiting people that actually care about doing this stuff too. So it's been kind of 2 birds in 1 stone. But since 3-4 months ago, I've actually turned off all my leads, so I no longer have leads coming in. I love leads, don't get me wrong, but now we're able to generate them internally from social media. And in the last 45 days, we've had about 250 leads come in, so still in the very early stages. But obviously, once that gets rocking and rolling, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for real. And for the audience out there that isn't really familiar with infinite baking and that whole concept, can I give like a brief overview of what that looks like?
And keep in mind, like, I'm still learning all this myself. I've been doing this about 3. So I've been doing IULs for a while, but I'm big into finance, right? And you have a few different buckets in terms of retirement strategies. You have, like a 401k, Roth IRA, market accounts. 401k is going to be a tax-deferred account, which means you haven't paid taxes on it yet, but down the road, we're going to pay taxes on it. When Social Security came out, it wasn't meant to be what it is today, right? It wasn't meant to be a retirement vehicle for folks. It was created back in, 35 by Roosevelt, when there were about 42 freaking employees paying for every one retiree. It was still at an age when the life expectancy was 62, and Social Security didn't really kick in until 62, right? So maybe people use it for a year or two if you're living too long. It wasn't meant for people to start taking it at 62 and live till 90, right? That's a third of someone's life frame. But now Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare are about 70% of the United States budget, just those 3 programs. And now there's only about 2 workers paying for 1 retiree, right? So I kind of look at that like a Ponzi scheme personally, when you have new people's money paying for older. Anyway, that's a whole different tangent.
Right.
But what's going to happen when Social Security cannot? This is my take on it. But Social Security can't crash. If Social Security crashes, we're going to be screwed as a country.
Oh, dude.
Okay. Well, where's the money coming from, right? How are we going to pay for Social Security? And by God, don't think they're not eyeing what people got in 401ks. And, don't think they're not eyeing what people have in different retirement accounts. Income coming in. Right now is actually one of the lowest taxes of the history of the United States. Even though we all bitch and moan and complain about high taxes, they're very low right now. Back in the 60s and 70s, the middle income America was getting taxed 70%. So let's say you have, dude, like $1 million in a 401k, and overnight your tax bracket goes from 30% to 60%. You just lost $300,000 overnight. pretty much, like in the blink of an eye, just because they change the tax codes. I love using life insurance as a retirement tool, and you can. I use a lot of IULs for tax-free retirement. So how it works, we're getting an IUL, and whole life is very similar. Right now, my bread and butter is an IUL, Index Universal Life. So you have, let's say, Tim and Julian, you guys are putting in $1,000 a month into an IUL. You could have, you have two buckets. You have your cost of insurance, and you have your cash value, right? So if you took $1,000 and you could have, let's say, $1 million life insurance policy versus a $30 million, you would agree that a $30 million life insurance policy would cost a lot more than $1 million. It's not about how much insurance can I get for $1,000. It's how little insurance can I get for $1,000. That way, out of that $1,000, only a portion of it is actually going to your cost of insurance. Most of it is going towards your cash bucket, right? And then how the policy works, let's say down the line, you have $100,000 sitting in there, and you take out, let's say you have $100,000 here, you take out a $20,000 loan against the policy, and all this is like very high level. So if anyone listening wants more research, more information, please do some more research on this. It's really cool stuff, but we do want to make sure we understand what we're doing. So at a very high level, let's say you had $100K in there, you took out a $20,000 loan against it to go start a business or pay for something for the house, whatever you want to do. It's your money. You're your own bank. You don't have to go apply for anything. It's yours. As long as it's there, you can take it. And you take out a $20,000 loan. Historically, an IUL will grow at around 7%. Even though you took out a $20,000 loan, which right now is a lot of it, people have it at 4 or 5% interest, if your account's still growing 7%, you're still making 2%, even though you took the money out. And you technically don't have to pay it back if you don't want to. And if you guys went to a bank and got a loan for $100K, you're not getting taxed on the $100K, right?
Right.
Because you got to put the money back. Same thing's true with the insurance policy. Except your policy helps pay the money back for you, or the interest on the loan. And there's no set time frame that says, hey, you have to have it paid off in 3 years. It's kind of like an infinite loan. You never really have to pay it back. So it works out really well for people that want a tax-free income. It was right now, let's say you guys were putting $5,000 a month into a 401k, right? You're not getting taxed on it yet. You let it sit and ride until you're 60. You do the same thing with a Roth IRA. But a Roth IRA is after tax contributions. Let's say it's $3,500 you're putting in. Let's say, after a basic interest rate, both accounts would generate you as long as the taxes stay the exact same, both accounts would actually generate you the same amount of money in retirement if the taxes stay the same. It's just, are we taxed now or taxed later? Well, if taxes go up 10%, your 401k certainly, or now, wasn't as good as the Roth IRA because now your tax bracket's much higher. And when you're older, you typically don't have a lot of deductions like you do now. Like for a lot of young folks and working folks, a mortgage is a big deduction that they have on their taxes. Child credits, right? There's a bunch of different write-offs that you have that typically when you're retiring, you don't have those write-offs anymore. So even if you're making the same, your tax bracket might go higher. But I can go on about that on days, but how the IUL and just cash value insurance works is that you develop cash inside the policy that you have access to, kind of like a savings account on steroids. So that way, when you take the money out, it's tax-free, and it has what's called uninterrupted compound growth. So let's say, Tim, you had $100K in there, you took out a $50,000 loan, you didn't actually take the money out of the policy. The $100K is still growing and compounding at $100K. That's the beauty of it. So the growth keeps getting off of a bigger and bigger number. So in a nutshell, that's pretty much how it works.
Dude, is that how you run your appointments?
Yeah, where do we sign?
Yeah, for real. I'm sold, bro.
But that is actually how I open up a lot of my appointments. Just because I feel very strongly about it, and I do a lot of it myself. And I use it to open up other stuff and other businesses, and I find it fun. And I think it actually is really powerful. Especially when people start realizing that taxes, they are really low right now. If taxes go up 20%, a lot of America is kind of screwed. A lot of us are just kind of hoping it doesn't happen.
Right.
You guys, you remember something you just hope doesn't happen. You try to
put it out of your mind.
Yeah, dude. Just like when the stock market just freaking tanked. For a while, I just didn't want to look at my account. I'm like, nope. If I don't see it and it doesn't exist, I'm good. It's still there. But that's stupid, right? I gotta plan for that shit. I gotta see that stuff. And I just really like having a fort in life insurance. It allows me to go take other risks, knowing that, hey, I can come back and my fort's still going to be here. My safety and my growth will still be here. But yeah, it's a lot better than a savings account because, right now inflation's 9%. It's like, what the fuck? That sucks. It's not that it sucks. You just have to know how to outpace it.
Exactly. So I'm curious, Dan, when you're running these appointments, these are organic leads, a lot of them are probably seeking knowledge from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they're actually, they're not just interested in buying a product, but they're actually interested in educating themselves. Have you noticed a difference in quality of prospect from organic versus paid leads?
It is no longer a sale.
What do you mean?
I no longer have to sell anyone. If I'm running, to be honest, like final expense mortgage protection, sometimes there's some hard closes in there. It is what, but it's not in a bad way, but it is, right? And not a bad way, but it's a hard sell. Like, Mary, you just told me you're going to be screwed if Bob passes tomorrow. What do you mean you're going to think about it?
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, Mary, are you really telling me these $50 a month in cigarettes are more important than getting something in place? That's not going to be on the side of things, at least to the IULs. What I'm doing is people that genuinely care about retirement, right? So it's either they like it or they don't. I don't know why it took me so long to kind of catch on to this, but you guys know Gary Vee, right?
Yeah, of course.
So he always talks about, hey, just get free educational content out there for people. If you get free shit out there for people, people will come to you. So that's pretty much what we've been doing, just getting free educational content out there. And some of my calls are just straight up educational. They're not going to do anything. But I'm not going to twist someone's arm to do this. Like, hey, what happens about your retirement if you don't do this today? There's really none of that. It's more just kind of presenting. How I look at final expense and mortgage protection, I still do run some. It's high volume, right? It's simple, too. You got whole life, it's with you for your whole life. You got term, it's with you for a period of years. IUL is much more product because you could easily screw someone up with the whole life or with an IUL if you don't know what you're doing. And when you set it up properly as an agent, your commissions get crushed. So you can't just be in it for the money. If I have a client putting $1,000 a month into an IUL, the payout might only be at $1,500, $2,000, even though they're putting in $1,000, because I don't want my commission to be high, because that means that more of that's coming out of their policy. It's going to do less for them. Yes, would I like to get a bigger commission? 100%. Right? Who would say no to that? But I couldn't, in my right mind, set someone up improperly. Because they'd go 10, 15, 20 years without actually knowing it if they didn't know what they're doing.
Right.
So, but when you know how to set it up properly, it's amazing. And then I'll just literally go through kind of like what we just did now, just kind of my background, I'm a tax-free retirement specialist, and go through literally the same spiel that I just told you guys. And then we'll go through numbers on an illustration and say, hey, would this help you? If they say, meh, that just means I don't have a client. If they say, yeah, it would. Like, cool, let's see if we can get you approved.
There you go. And yet, one of the things that you've been doing that's really cool. I don't see a lot of other people, in this space, financial services and insurance in general, really doing that. Is you're starting to post content and generate those organic leads. And so I scrolled down on your Instagram before the interview and I was looking. Seems like before you were actually making content directed at agents, right? Like trying to recruit. And then all of a sudden there was a switch. You started talking to the consumers and trying to generate the organic leads. What made you have that switch? Was it like a mentor of yours or just kind of a switch in mindset? What ultimately led you to do that?
So there was someone at my agency that started doing it in terms of what we're talking about. I used to be all recruiting, and then I'm like, no shit, you got a way to get high ticket leads? I say the average premium is like $400 or $500 a month, and then you're doing it all for free. Like, no way. That sounds really cool. I like that, and I love IULs. That's like up my alley. I'm like, shit, if I can actually figure out this process in terms of generating free leads, still giving agents high comp, they got free leads, very low chargebacks. I'm like, I should be able to scale the crap out of this, and people can have a really nice work-life balance at the same time. If you run 10 IUL leads, so I'm always big on like work-life balance. For the first 2 years, I work like a dog, and I still work probably 60, 70 hours a week. So it's not like I'm not working hard. To some people, that would be slacking off a lot. But I like having fun. I spent most of this year in South America. I just got back last week to Jersey. So I love traveling, and being able to do the IULs allowed me to do that. And that's might be a smaller niche I'm going after. That's what I want to go after in terms of the recruiting side. People that want to care, that they care about financial services. So I figured that would be a great recruiting tactic. And the guy that I'm learning from, now I'm pretty much on my own, but I was learning from his lead. He was not doing too much, maybe like $200K a month, and now last week they submitted $400K with like 16 agents.
And this is just from pivoting over to generating the organic leads.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Doubled their production. And so you said when they were doing the 200K,
that was 200
this
a month, and now it's 400 a week.
Oh, a week. I thought you said it was 400 a month. So they were doing paid leads. 16 agents were doing paid leads and then generating 200K a month, and now they're doing 400K a week with organic leads only.
Yeah. Dude, now you got the IUL, infinite banking, dude, you're going to run into some high net worth folks. You can do what's called premium financing. I have a guy that just sold a property down in Austin, Texas. He's going to make about $15 million. You can actually utilize insurance to get rid of your capital gains taxes legally. Just like you could do a 1031 exchange on a property. Imagine you guys bought a house for $100K, you flipped it, you made $200K. As long as you go take the profits and put it into a bigger house, you can delay taxes. You don't actually have to pay taxes on it. And then down the road, you can donate it or put it in a trust, and you never fucking pay taxes. Legally. You can do the same shit with life insurance too. You can actually get a bank to fund, if you have a net worth of like ballpark $3 million to start with, if you're like under 30 or 40, you can actually do stuff called premium financing, where the bank is actually going to pay a majority of your life insurance premium. So your cash value is, if you put in, like, let's say, Tim, you're the bank, and Julian, you're the insured. Julian, you put in $100K a year, the bank's going to put in another $900,000. So your cash value is growing off of $1 million a year, even though you only put in $100K. If you're a business owner, you can also write that off as a tax deduction as well. So there's legal ways to do that, and then you access the money tax-free down the road as well. So there's pretty cool shit. And when you run into stuff like that, dude, you could submit cases that are $100K, $200K a year, easy. And it's really cool for the client. Like, it's super freaking cool for the client too.
I've never heard of an agency grow at that pace with I've never heard of an agency grow at that pace with 16 agents. I don't think with paid leads.
Well, it's who you're targeting, right? So, dude, if I wrote $200K with 16 leads on final expense and mortgage protection with 16 agents, dude, I'd be thrilled. That's really good. It's a different type of client you're targeting, right? So you got to be very knowledgeable in terms of how to set this stuff up, because you can do some really cool stuff. And the more knowledge you have on this stuff, there's a lot of money in the States. People don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, throwing $1,000 at something a month ain't a big deal.
That's wild. So it sounds like, because I feel like there's a lot of people out here in this industry right now. It seems like there was almost like a little shift when we saw the pandemic come around, where everyone started to realize, oh wow, driving around like a chicken with your head cut off and beating doors down and asking people to sit on the couch and smoke cigarettes with them. They started to realize that wasn't really the best way to do things, because they stopped getting into those same doors. And so a lot of people, they tried telesales, they're learning telesales, they're doing Zoom, they're doing all these other things. And there's a lot of people that are they're thinking about doing it, or maybe they're even trying to do this influencer thing to get clients or agents. And the one thing that stood out to me that you said is you have to have a lot of knowledge on the subject. And I feel like that's really important for a lot of people in the audience right now, because I feel like you can't really offer value to the marketplace if you don't have knowledge to share.
Yeah, man, but it's like, it's so simple. You can just talk about life insurance. What's the difference between whole life, term life, and dude, you'd be surprised how before I got into insurance, I had no freaking idea the difference. I just thought you got insurance through work. That's it. So anyone that has your insurance license, you know a lot more than you think you do. Like, give yourself credit. The big thing is being consistent. What I see a lot of people, and dude, TikTok is so easy, to Instagram, so you can do what's called a duet and remake. You just put your face up here, you click a button, and you just nod your head and look at someone else talk. You guys see a lot of those. It takes 2 minutes to do that and post it. The key is every day. If you're not doing it every day, maybe you could get away with it if you just have freaking baller content. I don't. I gotta post at least once a day. On TikTok, it's typically more than once a day. That's where I see most people don't make it organically. At first I was almost worried that everyone was gonna catch on, but then at the end of the day, people ain't gonna.
They're too lazy.
Do shit.
They won't do it.
99% of Americans, if you don't see that immediate satisfaction, you're gonna fucking stop. Just like every July or January 1st rolls around. Oh, everyone's at the gym. February 1st, crickets.
Ghost town.
I think New Year's resolutions are a sack of shit, because if you're waiting for New Year's to.
If you have to wait until the new year to reinvent yourself or start improving, you're not going to improve yourself.
In like October, November, like the holidays start coming around, and I like kind of, I'm going to start for my New Year's. Right? You kind of give yourself like a reason to slack off for like 2-3 months, but it's consistency. No one's going to freaking be consistent. But social media is an everyday thing. I even talk to my agents like, hey, if you want to do this, you got to do this every day. If you don't do it every day, if you know that you're not going to be able to be consistent, just don't even start, because it's 2 jobs. You still have to dial your leads, book your appointments, because I've seen agents try to go straight social media after seeing some success that we've had. They go fucking bankrupt because now they're not working.
It's a transition.
Exactly. Even the other week, I still helped out a few mortgage protection folks. You gotta make the transition. You have 2 full-time jobs. Social media is not easy. Like, people think it's very simple. I used to think it's very simple. Oh, why is this taking you forever? It's not easy. Like, it can take a lot of time, especially if you're making your own content.
Right. Where do you see? I'm curious which platform, because we got Instagram, we got TikTok, we got YouTube Shorts, Facebook. I mean, there's so many different rabbits to chase, right?
Yep.
Which platform do you see the most growth potential for, an agent watching this that wants to get into starting the organic content and getting those free leads? They're okay with putting in the consistent work, but they're not sure where to put it into. Which
Yeah.
platform would you say is the best?
I don't know if there's a best, but once you post one video, dude, it's so simple to post it off on all platforms. There's an app called like SnapTick. You can like copy a link on TikTok, put it in snaptick.app. It gets rid of the watermark. You post it in your Instagram and your Facebook. I haven't seen that much success, I don't think, on Instagram. Most of it has been off TikTok and Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook, we've seen a lot of the reason I like Facebook. I like TikTok because people are squirrel brained, right? And they click on stuff all the time. Like, oh, so you gotta understand that too, and you gotta be able to capture someone's attention. I find Facebook is a little bit more storytelling, but Facebook makes it a lot easier for someone to message you. Right? On TikTok, you can't message someone unless you guys follow each other. On Facebook, you can just get private messages all the time. YouTube Shorts, we just started experimenting with. We're starting to see some decent results on some of my agents' pages. That could be pretty cool because you'd be the first to market in YouTube, so it might take a little bit to get going, but like no one else is really doing it on YouTube.
Yeah.
You could really. That's what Gary Vee talks about right now too. If you're not on YouTube Shorts, you're a freaking idiot. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if you look at the way the industry's been ran forever, it's always been there's an insurance influencer. So you have Jake from State Farm, you have Flo from Progressive, whatever the gecko is from a Geico. There's always like a figure that represents the company, and everyone deals with their local insurance agent. They want to deal with somebody they trust, and at the end of the day, what we're seeing is a transition from advertising yourself on a billboard, hey, I'm Dan the IUL guy, to being on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all of the above. So at the end of the day, it's the exact same thing, just the medium is changing.
Well, yeah, you guys probably know this too. Being in this space, you probably know more about that stuff than me. But how I always looked at social media, it's your digital real estate, right? So just because we're not neighbors physically, I am your neighbor on social media. You could be living in freaking Australia right now, in Perth, literally the furthest place from me in like New York area right now. We could be neighbors on social media because we follow each other and like each other's content. So I got a lot more familiarity with you than the crazy neighbor I got over here next door.
Right.
So it completely changed the way business is happening. People follow people, and when they click on our stuff, it's not the first video they've seen. They've been watching your videos, they've been watching other people's videos. It's just something finally clicked with them on yours, and they have trust with you. And dude, these appointments are fun. Like some of the people I sit with, they start picking up Rich Dad Poor Dad. We chat every once in a while. You're working with people who really care about their future.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And one thing, Dan, that I really like about what you're doing is it seems like you were talking about how you got all the student loans out, right? You're really into finance. So obviously you've been driving your own business forward. You're starting new businesses. You're doing things like that. And it seems like you're really giving back to the community. And you're talking about people that are picking up Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Maybe they don't even get in the insurance business. Who knows what their career might be. But for you, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who is maybe they're graduating high school or graduating college and they don't think they want to pursue more education? They're maybe looking to pursue a career in finance or sales or business. What's one piece of advice that you would give that person so that they can move the needle forward in their life?
Pick one and stick with it for at least 2 years. So you're going to hear all these financial gurus, right? These millionaires always have 7 streams of income, right? A lot of these people that are listening to this, like they want financial freedom, right? But imagine financial freedom was this island that we're trying to get to, right? If you started building one bridge and then, Forex trading, you go build another bridge, you start building another bridge, right? And you're like, crypto, boom, you start building another bridge. Like, dude, every time you start building another bridge, it distracts you from building one bridge. Once you have one bridge to the island of financial freedom, well, dude, now you can just pretty much buy your way to the other bridges. It's so much easier to do that. But where I see a lot of Americans, especially young dudes, myself included, is it's like, squirrel, next opportunity. Squirrel, next one. And we don't give enough time for one damn thing. So like there's people, I want to do real estate, I want to do insurance, and I want to do dropshipping. Dude, you're not going to have enough time to do that all. Like even in insurance, I want to do life insurance, I want to do Medicare, I want to do PNC. If you're new, you're not going to have time to do them all. If you are doing them all, you're not going to have time to do them all well. You won't be an expert in your field. You don't have the time to do it. Even me, just with IULs, picking up whole life, there's a lot of shit to learn on that end. Even though it's the same concept, there's a lot of different stuff going on, even though it's very, very similar, IUL and whole life. My advice would be to pick one that you really enjoy doing.
I'm curious, do you listen to Alex Hormozy? I heard that exact same metaphor on a YouTube video of his last night with the bridges. I love that.
Yep, I do. I think I heard it from, why am I blanking on it? The guy from Bigger Pockets, Brandon Green or Brandon Turner, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Blanket on that. If he's listening to this, hell yeah, but he's probably not yet. Maybe one day he will. But yeah, he used the same. I think it was him or Alex a while ago. He used the same analogy, and that just kind of struck home, dude. Like even I was trying to do Medicare, I was trying to do ACA, I was trying to do whole life, IULs, run an agency. Dude, that was 7 jobs in one, and I didn't really. You think it's the same, even if it's in the same roof. Like stick one thing and be an expert in it, and make sure you enjoy doing it. Right? We all want to get to a spot where we're probably not working anymore, right? But even when we're not working, we're going to be doing something. Make sure you enjoy doing that and monetize the shit out of that. So that way, life is fun. Like, dude, now when I'm making these TikToks and setting up people, I enjoy it. It's fun. So that'd be my advice. Find something you love and stick to one.
Dude, that's fantastic. I feel like I learned a lot. I'm sure the audience did as well. And, biggest thing, if you're an insurance agent, you want to start generating organic leads, just start posting and doing it consistently. Pick one niche and stick with it, and you will see growth over time.
And in regards to that, too, if I can put one more point in, it's okay if you don't know what you're doing. When I first started versus now, it's totally different. I'm still not good at it. It doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, black, white, blonde hair, big beard, no beard. It doesn't matter. People are getting on there for your content, right? So just get on there and start posting. What really helped for me a lot is I picked 3 or 4 people that I liked, and I just stole their shit and put my words on it. That's it. Just made it my own. And then you start thinking of your own ideas. Now, like, my whole phone's got just ideas written down. Every Monday, I have 4 hours blocked out on Monday to make my content for the week. So if you want, just go on my Instagram or TikTok. It's just D Trinati. Just steal my shit. I don't care. Remix it, duet it, whatever you want to do. Just get your stuff out there.
Exactly. And Dan, so for everybody, I feel like a lot of us, I feel like Tim and I have gotten a lot of value out of this. And I know there's agents out there who are watching this and are thinking, wow, I didn't even know infinite banking existed. And they're thinking to themselves, I'm trying to get like this guy. For the agents that are trying to maybe work with you or looking to maybe get involved with your agency or learn from you personally, where can they find you at to start a conversation?
Just shoot me a text, 973-903-0137. Just shoot me on a message on Instagram, which is D Trinati, or Facebook, Dan Trinati. If you want to get working with me, I completely changed the way I do things now. You get ready to read. We're going to throw a lot of books your way, and we want people to come at this stuff with a lot of knowledge, because when you're doing IULs, it is a lot about knowledge stuff. It's a lot about just how finance works as a whole. So expect to get ready to learn how the financial market works.
Awesome. And so if you, whoever's watching this right now, if you're interested in working with Dan, we'll put all of that stuff in the link down below. We'll also put his information on the screen with everything that he just said. That way you can read it off, and you don't have to just rely on the camera for it. But thank you for watching this video. Go ahead and click the like button. Go ahead and comment down below for more content like this. And go ahead and click that subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next one.